Take one. To communicate.
Just the occasional pressing of buttons.
Let's do it how it's down. It's a nice little thing, huh?
It's a slice of life.
What shark infested that man says?
I'm sorry about that.
You understand? I'll have you arrested.
Just a minute.
Enough is enough. The sound turned down.
Take two.
Now look what they've gone and done.
Really? Something that they never really captured, something that should be captured, something that everyone does.
Enough is enough.
We can stand each other.
Then suddenly, I felt like a Midi. The sound turned down.
Imagination. Creative imagination.
Depression. Hey, this makes the you sound a prepared performance where things are set up. But let me go on.
Close your eyes. It's time.
I love you, son. You know that, right?
I don't know. I really don't know.
You want me to show you?
Yeah. All you have to do?
What do you mean?
What is it? Do
Take one.
the sound turned down.
Take one. To communicate.
Just the occasional pressing of buttons.
Let's do it how it's down. It's a nice little thing, huh?
It's a slice of life.
What shark infested that man says?
I'm sorry about that.
You understand? I'll have you arrested.
Just a minute.
Enough is enough. The sound turned down.
Take one. To communicate.
Just the occasional pressing of buttons.
Let's do those sounds. Down. It's a nice little thing, huh?
It's a slice of life.
What a shark infested that man says.
I'm sorry about that.
You understand? I'll have you arrested.
Just a minute.
Enough is enough. The sound turned down.
Okay, hello. I'm gonna be starting now. I don't know. It says my stream is not maintaining enough video to maintain a smooth stream, so hopefully that's a lie. But anywho, our internet kind of sucks, so that's probably why. So it's probably because we're cheap and we don't spend enough money on it. Anywho, so I said I was gonna make drums and stuff earlier, but I'm gonna have to change the thumbnail later because I decided I wanted to mix something instead. Because I'm pretty much almost done with this tune, right? I just need to mix it. I've been working on it. Worked on it, I think, at least once during stream, but I've had it cooking for quite a while, and I finally figured out how I want to finish it up, which was taking the whole thing and then running all the different chords and notes and whatever, and having it all go through pieces of my JV 1080 and other old like drum machines and stuff that I have in my rack that are super 90s. And combined, they sound pretty neat though. It has a really like old jungle sound that I'm super happy with. So I'm gonna play a piece of it and you'll see. But we're gonna mix it today. So it goes from modern to like this old shitty sound. Debating even dubbing over it in tape. So like the cymbals are way too loud and stuff, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's a bunch of old sounds from like the MU Percussion and the Roland JV 1080. I have both of those sitting in my rack. So yeah, I'm just basically going to run over how I mix stuff. And I need to do this anyway, so I'm going to do it on stream as an excuse to make sure I actually do it. So here we go. I guess step one, I like to render everything out in audio files, because if I leave it in here in MIDI and whatever, I'll constantly tweak tunes forever, mess with it forever, and I'll never actually finish anything. The best thing to do for me, I don't know, maybe this will work for other people too, but I always just take everything and render it out fully to audio. So to do that, I counted earlier, there are like 46 tracks in this or something like that. Not too bad. But so I'm just gonna record each one to a print track and print it, and then we're gonna render those out individually, which isn't super interesting, but the mixing part will be. And I figured I wanted to talk about this process a little bit because I don't know if it's not normal is not the right word, but it's definitely like an extra step. The reason I do it is because I think it sounds better, and I can do all sorts of like mixing stuff, and like when I want things to have hard cuts, they'll have hard cuts because it's already an audio file and I just chop it. Or if I want to glitch something out, it's really easy because it's already an audio file, you know, stuff like that. Because there's a sound to like glitching an audio file versus, you know, having a MIDI roll where it just rolls the note really quickly. It's very, very different. Anywho, this way too, it locks me into not being able to mess with stuff forever. Rendering audio saves so much CPU also. Yes, it does. Also, hey, what's up? Yeah, it saves like a shitload of time and a ton of CPU. So like opening and running this session forever would suck because it would just get bigger and heavier with all the more plugins. But like this, you know, the starting point will be way less. Let's see. How's it going, by the way? Alright, so you can see everything. rendering out. I guess to do that, I should probably explain while it's doing this. I have all these audio tracks set to buses 20 through, I think, 65. And all the outputs on these are set to those buses, right? That way, when you hit record on all these tracks, it'll just record everything that you made, right? Pretty nifty. But yeah, this one's really fun. I really like this tune a lot. I've been sitting on it for like so long. A little on the sick side, but I'm happy. Well, you know what? Welcome to the club. I've been sick the past 2 or 3 days. I had like stomach flu, and it was not a great time. I'm finally feeling better today that I was able to like go to work, but it was a nasty cold. What did you have? Hopefully it wasn't anything too bad. I wouldn't wish stomach flu on my worst enemy after experiencing it like this. It's awful. Alright, here we go. This is where the transition section is. Like we build up to this big thing, and then it goes down to the opposite of that big thing. Ah, just a cold. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, hopefully it wasn't too bad. I feel like there's stuff going around this season. Alright, so let's see, we're almost done. There's some weird sound effects in there that I really like. And the fade out was a little quick, but I really don't care. I think it'll be fine. Oh, you know what I should have done that I don't know if I did? Well, shit. We'll see in a second if it was worth it or not. In case we have to delete all those. So normally what I do is I like to pre-prep these before making them into stems. Usually I like to get rid of all my gates and then redo them. But it's probably fine. I don't know. This is probably paranoia. I probably don't need to do that. So anyhow, let's just grab all these. I'm sure these tracks are fine. Whoops. Tracks are fine. Throw these. Where does audio files? Okay, so I'm going to throw these. It's called Hocket Gym Song. So in the bounces, I'm going to make a new folder called like composition stems. Create. Export. So while that's happening, normally what I like to do, I guess if we talk, this is probably very boring, but like there's some file structuring stuff that I think is very helpful. If we go over here, maybe not there. Let's see. Well, whatever. Normally I like to break it up into like different sections of everything. I'm really paranoid about how, not paranoid, but really anal about how everything is organized on my hard drive. So I usually have a section for like songs that I know I'm gonna finish are all, they have their own section. There's like a set of folder that's all the composition sessions, which are sessions like these. Then there's one that's all the different stems for the, you know, versions of the song. And then there are all the different stems for this song. And then a mixing session that's separate. That's in another folder, and you know, blah, blah, blah. So it's really neatly organized. If I want to go grab anything, I know the name of the tune. I just have to go to the file that says composition, mixing, or mastered, you know, blah, 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 and find it. It just makes things a lot easier. Because like otherwise you're just digging through old projects and like you lose stuff over time. I've lost so much like old sessions. Probably don't need them, but you know, be nice to go back to some of them and be like, oh, what was I using in that song? I don't remember. And you'd be able to find it again, but oh well. On forever. So that's what it is. Okay, render. This is taking a minute. I'm gonna go grab something to drink while this happens. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And we're still rendering. We're still gonna be rendering for a while, I have a feeling. It usually takes forever. I usually go get up and like go do stuff while this is happening. It usually takes about 5-ish minutes because Logic is slow. But it makes sense. You gotta export all of these audio files. They've gotta go somewhere. So, whatever. It is what it is. It'll be a lot more fun once we start mixing this. Yeah. I really like doing the separation thing, like I said, otherwise I'd be endlessly tweaking this stuff forever. So, feels good to be doing this finally, because I feel like, okay, this song has changed probably 4 or 5 times. Like, it originally started as like a house tune at like 116 BPM. There was some, back when I was doing spin classes, there was some song that our instructor would play that had a really cool, like a specific section where it would drop off and it would go do like this, I guess hock it is the best way to term it, but it would do like synth, pad, and then piano. And I was like, that's a really cool pattern, right? And it had that classic house piano sound. I was like, that's neat. I'm going to steal that. I don't know what the song was. I'm sure if I went through his Spotify playlist, I could find it, but who has time for that, right? So I just was like, I'm going to mess with it. I like that idea of hock it where half of it's piano and the other half is 2 synth patches. And so it worked out pretty well. Yeah, it was really fun to write. But it changed so many times, and there was a point where I deleted everything that wasn't piano, and the bass was completely different. It's shifted a lot, and it's like, okay, rendering it down to audio means I can't do anything more to it. I just have to put it out there. Oh, the other thing I didn't remember if I did. Did I check to normalize these? I usually like to normalize these audio files as they go out because it gives me a fresh start on the mix. There's no predetermined levels that I have to deal with, like, because if something's too quiet and it got rendered out very quietly and I want to turn it up and suddenly it's like, oh, the noise floor is rising and it's starting to get real like, ugh. So real noisy and shitty, but we'll see. Hopefully I remembered to do that, but if not, so be it. So where is this? I've got to find this track actually on my hard drive really quick. See where all these stems are going to. I think it's over here. What was it called? Hocket Gym Song? Yeah. See, that's exactly where it came from. Anywho. Okay, that was the last one. So, did I do it right? Did I do it right? Let's see. Let's go ahead and export as audio files. Balls, I did not. Okay, I'm going to turn on normalization. So, we're going to delete all that and do it again. Whoops. Move to trash. And let's go ahead and empty trash. Okay. So let's re-export that again, all normalized. Like I said, this way there's no predetermined mix levels and I get to start from scratch. That's just always, I prefer working like that. Going to be exporting regions for a while. Doing its thing. Doing its thing. Yeah, but once these are all done, it'll be nice to start mixing, that's for sure. I kind of wanted to make this more like... There's a lot of stuff by Machine Girl that I really like that I think would fit very well. Like the way that those songs are mixed. They're very loud, they're very punchy in the face, and I feel like that would be the way to go for something like this. Because there's never too much happening at once, and so I think because of that I could get away with making it fairly loud. It's always tough because the more layers you have, the more layers you have, the harder it is to make something loud, I guess, because there's all this stuff competing for the same amount of bandwidth in your frequencies. And so you wind up with a bunch of stuff that competes and none of it goes together, and really easy when you have a couple basic sounds to just make them really loud and it'll fill everything in nicely. Oh. Come on, it's taking forever. Yeah, this is the not fun part where you just sit around and wait for shit to render. But it is exporting all the regions, so we will have something. This will be cool too because I get to talk a little bit about my mix template afterward. I do start mixing all my songs from the exact same point, and that does not mean that stuff is pre-EQ'd or pre-anything. It's just a lot of pre-routing is already done, I guess. So like all the audio files will be up there, untouched, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But there will be a whole set of like auxiliary channels that are my different submixes, and then those will have print tracks if I want to print out all my subs. Yeah, everything's already pre-routed that way, so I don't have to think about it. Basically, just like I know all of my drums are going to end up on bus 1, right? Reason being is that I can do any group editing or group mixing or group mastering or whatever to that to that subgroup. Makes it a lot easier. So a lot of times if you want to like apply an effect to whole group, it's a lot easier if that stuff is already pre-routed, right? I always hate drawing automation. It takes forever. It's boring. But if I only have to do it once instead of doing it like 8 times, I'll definitely do that. It just saves you a lot of time in the long run. It saves you a lot of CPU as well because you're not having to put the same filter on 16 different drum tracks and automate all of them. You're putting it on one of them once, I don't know. It's also nice too because if you do like, I'll talk about a little bit with mixing how I mix my low end of my drums, like my sub oscillators and whatever. A lot of that stuff can get pretty gross and nasty right away if you're not doing a lot of like side chaining. So like obviously everyone knows you side chain your bass to your kick, right? That's always a pretty basic, so that when your kick happens, your bass dips down a little bit, right? But one of the things I like to do is make it so that instead of just that, because I do have that, it's kick and bass, whatever. But I do also put often, what's the word I'm looking for? I will also often go ahead and like, so I'll take my entire drum bus instead of just kick and bass, I'll do that, but then I'll take my entire drum bus and send that out to a separate bus, right? And then on my bass channel, I'll have a plugin that's just listening for that and will dip the audio down every time there's something below 100 hertz that happens, right? So that way, even if like a tom drum happens or there's like a weird sound effect drum that's huge and bassy, the bass will still dip down beneath it, so it won't ever get too muddy at any point. I use a plugin called Track Spacer to do that. There are other ways of doing it, but that's the best one I found for something like that. You could also just split the frequency and use your low end as a sidechain input, the low end from your drums. But that's not nearly as clean, not nearly as like, I don't know. I find it less elegant. Doesn't work as well. But anyhow, I'll show all of it instead of talking about it in a second. We'll be there soon. I think we're almost done. It's got to be on the last like 2 or 3 tracks. Come on. Okay, so in the meantime, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to do file management in the background that you can't see. Okay, cool. This is done. Okay, so we're just going to close out of that. I'm going to open now. Close. I'm going to open now. Go to template. So this is where I have my templates. This is a single track mixing template that I use for everything. The other two are very out of date. The new disco one specifically I only use for work. So while that loads, I'm going to, you can see already there's like a lot of stuff is pre-routed. So pull up the mix window right here. You can see this is an older version of my template, so there's some stuff missing. But you can see on every channel there's already a compressor, there's already channel strip, you know, or like an EQ, channel EQ. So we're actually, this is a little out of date, so what we're going to do is we're going to remove that. Plugin. Plugin. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to put on this is, and this is how I do every song. I'm going to go over to Isotope, and I'm going to throw on Relay, every channel. Why would you do that? Well, Relay is nice. You can control your stereo width of your image right away. You can also get rid of all the low end right away and not have to have your EQ do that. So next, we're going to open up an EQ on every channel. And then after that, we're going to open up a compressor on every channel. I only ever use the Logic stock compressors. I'm sure there are better ones. I don't care, but it's always what I do. It's so easy. And then we'll open one more EQ. So normally, Relay is to like basically just cut all the low end and control your stereo width. The first EQ is going to be subtractive, and we're going to remove any problem areas. Then we're going to compress it. And then after the compression, you do your additive EQ or creative EQing to make things fit together, right? So the first round of EQ is always to fix stuff that sounds like shit, because you don't want to have something that sounds bad get into your compressor, because what's going to happen then is you're going to blow up whatever that error is, and you're going to spend all this time trying to remove it after the compression because it sounds so much louder now that it's, you know, being compressed. So you want to remove it before that happens. So let's see. I'm going to quick do some little file management garbage. I need to move the stems for this. So what is this called? Pocket Gym Song. I'm going to move that into a different folder. Stock plugins are love. Stock plugins are life. They really are. Stock plugins are very underrated a lot of the time. People shit on them, but they're very good. And the convenience matters. Like, I know that there are nicer sounding compressors in the world, but who cares? You know, like, I just want it to sound good enough. You know, like, I want it to be a thing, and convenience matters so much more, especially like, I don't know, having to do this day in and day out for work. You're just like, whatever is the fastest to get me there, I don't care. You know, like, that's a lot of times the mindset is not what corners can be cut, but like what is actually important, you know? What the heck? I'm trying to copy this session over. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, well, that's copying. Did all these go over? Yep, okay. So all these went over. So we've got 45 stems, right? So let's make 45 tracks. I'm going to duplicate that 1,000 times. We'll populate with more tracks. Come on. I think I hit duplicate too many times. I think I hit it way too many times. Okay, good. We're done. Okay, so I only need 45 of these, I think. But let's do 46 just in case to keep safe. So let's grab all of our tune stems. Got this. Okay. use existing tracks. And we're going to make the tempo what it was originally, 50. Ooh, that is not the right number. We're going to make it 150. And so you'll see everything is like very huge, right? Everything is very loud. We don't need it to all be that loud. I'm going to take everything and immediately down the gain -6. Again, this is just to keep our noise floor low and keep things clean mixing wise. This is how I do my stuff, but it's also how I do like most mixing for any sort of freelance projects as well. So I guess we'll start. This is the part that sucks. We've got to label everything. So this is the first thing, is a kick. I know this is going to be the reverse kick. Right? Yeah. Let's see what this is. Okay, so this is, I'm going to call this snare 2, definitely not snare 1. So, when I was doing this, I made this snare out of like a couple different snare samples. And one of the big things is I like the transient on one and not the other. So I made the attack on the one that didn't like the transient of very slow, so that way I would get the tail and the ring of it without having to get the whole thing, right? This is clap 1. What was this? Snare or clap? That's a snare. Okay, so that'll be snare 1. That's our main snare. This snare 2 is definitely going to be just like a tonal layer, right? So cute little clap. Snap. Okay, so this is clap 2 and snap 1. This will be fun too. I can dissect and see. A lot of times I'll put way too much shit, and this is a good point where I can start deleting stuff that I know I don't need, right? Also, that is absurdly loud. So let's go ahead and just turn this shit way down. Thankful later. So this is a hi-hat. So we're going to call this hi-hat 1. Got here. Our rim shot. The 808 rim shot is such a good sound. I love it. I guess this is hat 2. I guess chronologically it comes first, but I don't think of it as hat. Not. It only happens in the intro. So there we got a ride cymbal. I think that's just slate drums. It's either that or easy. You know what? I think that's easy drummer. That is a crash. Crash 1. That is a reverse crash. This should be crash 2 right here. Yep. Okay, what is this guy? Their breakbeat. This break 1. This is break 2 right here. What else we got? Oh, that's the vocal breaks. Yeah, that's from the Think break. Fantastic break. There's so many variations of it. Anywho, we'll just call that Think vocal. And then what's this? So that's our sub. That's our first instrument. Sub bass. Our bass tone. I made that using phase plant. Yeah, whatever. This is sub bass 2. What is this? This I think should be synth 1 right here. Yeah. This is synth 2. And this should be the piano. If I'm right. Yeah, good guess based on the waveforms. Okay. So what are these? This is a riser 1. What is this? Be a big like pew. It could be our white noise sound effect. Then we've also got over here. That's like a anime nerd effect. It's called Gundam laser. I don't know if that actually came from Gundam. Probably not. I got it from a sample pack called like Anime Sound that my coworker and I split the price on. Is there anything? That's like another one. So laser gun. I think this is a dead track right here that has nothing on it. Cool. Okay. So then we've got all that stuff. Now we can start going through, like, what is this? Ah, that's the melody. Okay. Melody. And then let's see what this is. That. Oh, weird. I didn't realize it started like that. Okay, well, this is definitely for the build. So, build pad, right? Part 1. Call this 1080 pad 1. This is probably 1080 pad 2. Pad 3. Pretty cool. I found all the breakbeats and stuff for this section on the 1080 as well. Let's go with this 1080 stab. There's a lot of neat sounds on that old thing, man. I really, really like it. Okay, so this is kick 2. Snare 3. Snare 4. Tambourine. What's, I think it's called a China cymbal. Making all these spelling errors live, I realize how stupid I am. Alright. And this is, I think, like Crash 3. I think this should be Crash 4. Yeah. And this, what is that ending bit? That's the MU symbol. I wonder how many times it's been used in. I think that was like a brass head. Dolphin shit. Dolphins. Feel free to correct any of my spelling errors. Last bit. This should be the break. Okay, at this point everything's labeled. So why do we do that stuff? The reason mainly is so that we can organize. So what I definitely want to do is I want to take all the pads. So if we look at how I have everything mixed here, right? I'm gonna have a drum group, a bass group, a synth group, a pads group, a keys group, a guitars group, and a sound effects group. Now these are just to start. They're probably gonna wind up changing. Like in this track, I know for a fact I have no guitars, but I do have some vocals, and I definitely want to add more. So I'm probably gonna change that to guitar or to vocals, and like all the other stuff I think can stay. But so let's organize. Take like, okay, we can take that ARP and the melody and bring that. We can also take some of these drums up. So like this is kick 2, right? So this all the way up with the kick. In general, I just like to go kicks, snares, claps, hats, and then usually everything else after. So guy can go. Think vocal is going to come all the way down to the bottom above the sound effects. And then let's bring up dolphin squealing. We're all going to stay in the sound. And like none of this shit matters at all. It's just about keeping it organized for yourself. By doing all this stuff, it helps me think, not ever lost at any point. Start moving all this build pads. Let's move these. Let's move our piano down below all of our pads and above the vocals. Start distributing these. 4 up there. Get crash 3 and 4. Break 3 goes into break 2. Find a symbol and up at the crash. But so anywho, so that's how everything is. I'm gonna go ahead and while I'm thinking of it, I'm gonna save this. That would really suck not to have. So I'm going to save this off screen. I go over to my music. Shidi Midi. We're gonna call this Pocket Gym Song Mixing Session, right? And I usually do this as a folder with everything in it because I don't want to lose any samples. I don't want to lose any audio files. Just basically all of it will be completely self-contained, right? So like I even save off if I use a sampler instrument, right? It's going to save all the samples in with the audio project. So anywho, let's take a listen. It's going to be bad. This is going to sound like shit. It's unmixed, completely unmixed. Yeah, everything's super loud. So let's just take. Okay, so now we've got everything organized, right? Oh, I never moved the tambourine. I'm going to say tambourine goes under the rim shot and above the cymbals. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so let's take all these kicks. We're going to send them to bus 1. That's what we have pre-routed for our drums. All the basses are going to go to bus 2. All the synths are going to go to, I think that's all of them. Really not a lot going on in this session for me. Is it going to go to bus 3 for the synths? Then pads. Bus 4. Piano is obviously going to be in the keys. That's bus 5. Think vocal is going to be the vocal section, which is no longer guitars, because we don't have any in this song. And all of these are going to go in the SFX channel. Yeah. Okay, so I do have some pre-routed like reverbs and stuff. They're mostly just there. Reverbs and delays. They're mostly just there so that I can send things to it, and then I'll probably tweak whatever this is later. I'm never going to leave these settings as they are. But anywho, so let's go over to the drums. There is a couple of things I'm going to do here that I'll do every single time. So one of the things I'll do is open up this drum bus channel strip I've made for myself. It has a light EQ on it, but it's mostly just an effects rack, right? So that way we can have, you know, EQ and reverb and delay and some other kind of fancy filtery tricks on there that we can use, really easy to access. Next I'm going to grab is this is for the bass. So this doesn't do too much from memory, but it mostly does. This is track spacer. I was talking about this earlier, but this plugin basically listens to the drum bus and goes, okay, everything below 100 hertz, we're going to dip down by 25% in volume, or 27% by volume, right? And it's going to do it really quick, and it's going to release it really quick, right? And the reason being that anytime like low end happens, it'll cut it in the bass and it won't get muddy ever, right? Which hate muddy low end. So I always leave this stuff as is. I think I have a gain. Yeah, I don't know why I have a gain knob there. I think it's just so that when I want to when the bass I want to go kind of fade out, it's already there. Because it's very bad to put your automations on the actual channels, like faders here. You usually put it on some sort of gain track, right? So that way you can do all your automation on this, but if you realize, oh, the whole track overall still kind of loud or quiet, you can just move this without screwing any of your automation. It's just really quick that way, right? So I think, do I have any other? I do have an SFX bus. So the SFX bus, I use this set of effects, channel strip settings, whatever you want to call it. It's very basic. I think, yeah, it's not even cutting low end. It's just using track spacer to dip down anything actually above 100 hertz, anything at all that's happening. So that way the sound effects don't ever get in the way of the drums. So like if I have a riser and a cymbal swell, the cymbal swell will take precedence, you know? Oh, excuse me. Just keeps things easy. So I guess let's start. Usually I try to keep my kick around like, let's start. Okay, mute everything, which I know feels wrong as somebody who does mixes, but how I do it. I usually try to aim for the kick being at about -6, right? So let's start with there. The kick is okay. We're gonna do. Yeah, we don't need to do any of that. We don't actually need this plugin on that one, so that doesn't matter. Let's look at the EQ, right? I want more low end. I don't need very much high end. We have a very natural 6 dB slope, right? Rolling off some of that high end. It's just going to make room in your mix later for stuff that does take up a lot of high end, right? Okay. We're going to compress it. Let's use this one. I usually like to limit it a little bit and get a little bit of soft distortion on there. It just adds color to the sound. Right. Let's see. I like that 100 hertz little bump. I'm not going to get rid of it. Needs that. I'm going to get rid of some of this, like, kind of like mid junk that I know we don't need. So what are we at right now? I like -5. Okay. Bring it down just a little bit. Up a little bit. There we go, -6. Is that a hard and fast rule? Absolutely not. That helps me kind of visualize where things are going to be, right? Oh, I hear my cat messing with something. I'll be right back. My little gray cat was trying to eat cookies. Okay, where were we? Kick drum. Okay, so kick is done. Reverse kick. Do we need to do anything to it? Nope. Probably not. So I'm just gonna dip it down in volume because it does not need to be that loud, right? The other thing I'm gonna do doesn't need a super amount of low end, so I'm just gonna leave 12 dB roll off at 120 hertz, right? It doesn't have quite the same beef, which is good. You don't want that kind of low. It basically just creates low end rumble, right? That's gonna sit and muddy up your mix. But sounds good. So I'm gonna leave that like that. Go over to snare 1. What do we got? That's a tight snare. Turn that way the hell down first off. So what are we gonna do? Let's roll off everything by 40 dB at 120 hertz. No low end needed in this snare at all. We're gonna take a little bit of this away, right? Because it's a little bit much. And I'm gonna roll off. Because like, okay. There's difference. But in the mix, there is no difference between those two things. And it just leaves me more room when I have cymbals later, right? Which is what we want. Okay, so let's go ahead and compress. Nice, okay. Really snappy, I like that. 400 hertz is a little much for me, but I think that works. What do we got here? The snare is kinda ass, I really don't like it, but let's put crazy width on it, right? Let's see, what does it look like on this? Definitely don't want it to have much low end at all, right? Arguably none. This is literally just going to be used only to add some stereo interest to our snare, because that first snare is kind of, it's very monophonic, or very mono. That doesn't have a lot of stereo content, but this does. That's why I did it. So we're just going to turn it way down. Just adds a little bit of interest to the snare that isn't there otherwise, right? Okay, then we got the first clap. Love that clap. Alright. Same thing, remove all the low end. Increase the stereo width. Move everything below like 230 hertz. You can see how kind of all these things are competing in the same space, right? So like our snare had a lot of high end around like the 2K mark. So we're going to remove some of that from the clap, right? This way they can all kind of like work in harmony. So now if we, now if we up the volume on our clap. Okay. Now our clap is a lot wider. Fits great with the other snare, right? Nice and pretty. What do we got next? We have these like really basic claps in the intro, right? They're very like... They're really fun. We're going to increase the stereo width on them. We're going to remove the low end. Shocker. We're going to compress the living piss out of them. Why the hell not? What is this? I think I grabbed the wrong one. Did I grab the wrong one? Do this. Okay, I did that. I think I grabbed the wrong... Yeah, I grabbed the wrong compressor. Okay, that makes sense. So let's see. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Now, before that compressor hits... Dang it, that's not the right EQ. Before that compressor hits, what are we hearing? Yeah, there's so much mid-range in this, right? I actually want to increase a little high-end. It's something I don't often like to do. Too much high-end increase, but whatever. Okay, so that was all pre-compressor, so now all those kind of mistakey sounds are pulled out of it. So let's go to post EQ. See, like a lot of this low end came back when I hit the compressor, which we straight up just don't need. But I was wrong on the high end. Okay, let's turn that down. Oh, my cats, hold on. Stop one from, you know. And then the other two start fighting each other. Anywho. Yeah, so I think we can probably turn that clap up a little bit. See what the snap sounds like with it. I don't think I'm going to do anything to that snap. It was fine. I was just going to check it on the very end to see if there's any, like... Yeah, there's not even any crazy highs or lows, so... It's fine. That works. Okay, so hi-hat 1, this should be obscenely loud right now, so just out of the gate I'm going to turn it down. Does this already have... I think this already has side chains on it, right? Yeah, it definitely does. Cool. Okay, very, very 909 hi-hat. Let's just make sure there's... Ooh, they are fighting again? One sec. Giant orange one with me. Would you like to say hi, James? You're in trouble, miss. Fighting with his... Stay with me now, James. Ass wipe. Okay. So let's go back to mixing. We removed all the low end from the hi-hat. See, there's this weird spike here, like around 20k. Literally no one will ever hear that. So I'm just gonna remove it. It just takes up bandwidth in your compressor that doesn't need to be used, right? And your compressor is gonna be spending all this time compressing a frequency that no one's gonna hear. And so James. Okay. That's something pretty decent. I like that. Let's turn down the makeup gain a little bit. And I don't think we'll need to do any more EQing. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's just turn it down because it's still a little loud. And I usually remove my gates before I render out the audio files, but I forgot to do that here. So all the gates are already in there, right? The sidechain sound is already in the mix, which is fine. Okay, what do we have next? think next we can do like these ride cymbals here. Definitely too loud. Okay, so the other thing we need to do is we need to set up our kick die. So bus 20, I'm always going to use as our side chain for the kick, right? The way it works. Anyway. Stop being such a bus. Release if you stop. So, let's check. We're going to remove any unnecessary low end. Probably not even there, but let's do it. Then we'll go ahead and compress the shit out of it. Stubborn boy. Okay, so that's cool, but it's really loud, so let's turn it down. The other thing is that it's happening, what should be happening with it is it should be dipping down. It should be getting ducked every time the kick happens, right? So I'm just going to go ahead. A lot of people do that with compression and sidechain compression. That's definitely a thing. I like to do it with gates because it's a lot cleaner, right? So basically I have it set so that anytime it's going to listen to sidechain bus 30, or bus 20, which is our kick, right? So I'm going to put the ducker on there instead of a gate. We're going to set the threshold to just below what our kick is. So remember how I said before I want the kick sitting around -6? This is so it's really predictable when I go to do this stuff, right? So if I set the threshold to like -8 here, it's always going to duck out when the kick happens, right? There's no chance of it being like, oh, one of these kicks was too weak and it didn't happen. That wants to be really... Okay. But you can see already that's like did a significantly good job of cutting it, right? Be almost too good. Up the release time. Make it a little bit more natural feeling, right? And it doesn't need to duck it too much. Just like 8 dB seems like enough. Maybe -10. 20 was too much though, that's for sure. What do we got next? Is crash cymbal. Okay, I probably don't need to do much to that other than just on the very end, cut any low end. It's just like a weird amount of like 500 hertz, right? Just get out of the way. Do you feel like a lot of producers mix their hi-hats typically way too loud? I feel like I hear it all the time from producers. Virtually any Yeah, dude. Hi-hats are always way too loud. I don't understand that shit. People always put that stuff as loud as like a snare, and I think that's gross. I think it's because in a lot of like modern production, that's the only place you can have fun now. Your kick and snare is always kind of predetermined by the genre, especially with something like trap or, you know, mostly trap, I guess, or pop, where like you have a very distinct like this is the kick and snare pattern, right? And hi-hats is the place where you can have fun and have a bunch of rolls and whatever. And so people want to hear that. It's basically like, I feel like it's the equivalent of the guitar player who constantly turns themselves up during the mixing process or during a live show, right? It's because they're like, oh, that's my fun part, you know? And like, it doesn't really add anything to make it louder. It's just because you like it. You know what I mean? But whatever, you know, that's just my opinion. That's a big ass crash. It's like a friggin' gong. All right, let's do that. But I say that hi-hat comment. I don't think I typically my problem is I always undermix my hi-hats, so I've had to get better at leaving them higher up, but Like, I feel like where they're at right now is comfortable, right? In comparison to the rest of the drums. It's not too loud. It's definitely there. Yeah, I like where those are sitting. Next we get the rim shot. My favorite sounds. This is the one I'm gonna overturn up. That's way too loud, but you know what? I'm going to one really annoying little high frequency in there, right? Again, we're going to cut out any unnecessary high end. Okay. I don't think these need any more compression. If memory serves, I compressed the absolute hell out of them when I was writing the tune. Do just very light compression, right? Okay, so that's neat. Let's turn it way the hell down. Yeah. Okay, I like where that is. Okay, the next thing, we did all these drums. Now we need to start, the breakbeat is very important because that's the soul of this song, right? There's a lot of breakbeats in this. And I know I already have some gating in there, but we're just going to re-add it in just to be sure. Okay. Make sure there's no low end in there that doesn't need to be there. And I'm going to try not to change the breakbeats EQ too much because it's so memorable, and part of what makes that sound is the shitty mixing on it, right? The only thing I'm going to do is clean up. I don't like that 200 hertz range very much. Okay, let's check the EQ afterward. That's not bad. Just turn it down, see how it fits. Nice. Kind of interesting too how that breakbeat, see, it's like a carve out right here in the 2 to 4K range. Kind of nice for us since our snare and clap mostly sit around there, right? So next we've got this second little breakbeat that's just for that little fill. I'm just gonna turn it down. I'm not even gonna mix it. It's so short and it so does not matter. The only thing I want to make sure is that there's no low end that's going to suck up where the bass needs to be, right? Cool. What else we got? Are there any drums? Oh, we've got the intro hi-hats. Way too loud. I think they might even be very similar to like the hi-hats I wound up using later on. I know this is a 909, so I'm gonna see if I can just do this. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I'm just gonna combine it and make one track that's both the hi-hats, right? No point in keeping them separate tracks, especially if the plug-in chain is identical, right? So done. All right, next is gonna be our sub bass. Big sub bass. Okay, we know that's already a mono, right? The stereo file, but it's a mono sound. One of the things I like to do for a bass specifically is instead of a compressor, I'm throwing overdrive on it. A lot of times this will warm up sort of those harmonics, right? Okay, so I'm gonna feel my speaker. The other thing we're gonna do is, it's really helpful just in general, especially for visualization. I always have an instance of, where is it? I always have an instance of tonal balance control 2. This will be more when we come to mastering, right? But it is nice every once in a while to double check, right? Like right now the low end levels are probably insane, but that's because not a lot of the other stuff is in there yet, right? So we don't have to think about it too much yet. We're just going to go off of what our ears tell us at the moment. Let's see. What else do I throw on there? Go to isotope. We don't need ozone yet, but I do need insight too. Okay. That's it for sure. Yeah, see, we're like, everything's still very quiet. So we'll need to worry about that stuff later, but we're not there yet. I think we can actually probably turn down our snare and clap a little bit. Nice. Okay, that bass, I know I usually like to have it sit around minus 14. Maybe that's too quiet, but for now, we'll just sit it right there. Next is the tonal layer of the bass, right? Okay. So this one, it doesn't matter if it's mono or stereo, right? Just gotta make sure there's no low end to conflict with the sub oscillator. I always keep the two separate because it just makes for a cleaner signal path. And so like, one of the things I'll wind up doing is I will put, you know, a side chain on this as well, but I'm probably gonna do it way less than I would do the low end. Just keeps it cleaner, but yeah. So I know we don't need anything like this, right? That's about where I want it. Maybe a little bit quieter. Okay, so let's go with synth 1. What's this sound like? Yep. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna gate that. Right. The other thing I want to do to it right away is we're going to increase the width on it a little bit. Cut the low end, as I've said 1,000 times now. And the EQ wise, what's it looking like? Channel. Let's see what that looks like. See, like, there's a bunch of shit here that we don't need around 200 hertz where a bass is sitting, right? So let's remove some of that. Nice. Now we can make this a little louder. Yeah. Make sure it stays quiet there. Nice. Didn't have to do too much to it. It's sitting in the mix nicely. Okay, that one I know specifically I had pumper on it at some point. So that is Waves as a one knob plugin that just makes a sidechain input, right? Gives it that pumping effect. I like it on this because I don't want it to follow the kick exactly. I want it to be whoosh, whoosh, not like affected by what the kick is doing, right? Right, so, okay, so let's see what we can do that. Let's increase the width a little bit, move the low end. Check a look, see what it looks like on the EQ. Wrong track. Nice. Sick. Okay, the next part I have to do, I gotta do the piano because hasn't been touched once yet. It's like the soul of the song, right? It's this banging house piano. Do I have a 64 right now? Or the half note? Must have been that. Okay, piano EQ. Let's see what that's doing. There's a lot going on here. Like, I don't need any of this low end at all. I'm gonna cut everything at like 140, and then you can see here there's a lot going on in this mid range. I'm gonna do a little bit subtractive around like 250-ish. I'm gonna leave the 500 hertz there because there's nothing going on elsewise in the song in this range, right? There's some stuff happening in the snare, but very different, right? So let's see. Maybe a little bit. Okay. How does it sound with everything else? think it's fine. Okay. I'm happy with it. Nice. Okay, what is the melody? Check that out. Too loud. Right away. Love that little synth patch. It's so goofy. Yeah, it's silly as hell. I like that it's a little goofy. I enjoy it. This is sounding pretty good. I'm confident with where this is going. I dig it. See those vocals, throw those in. Okay, I'm also going to leave those unmixed because that's kind of with the genre, that it would be kind of like that, you know? You don't want it to be too unrecognizable. Okay, so now we can start adding in these elements from other parts. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try to match our kicks, right? Which this kick is very interesting by comparison, right? It's not great sounding. The first thing we're going to do, I think we have to mono it up, honestly. Yeah, because there's like reverb and shit on this. It's a bad sounding kick. But, just gotta roll with it. That's the sound I wanted, is a kind of bad sounding kick. So, that's what I'm gonna... I dug this grave, I gotta live with it. It looks like it has decent low end though. Even if it's really short. I know it doesn't need any of this high end, right? If I boost this, press it. So now we have an interesting option. Okay, so we've got... It's a decent sounding kick. Okay, so let's throw it down to like -6. That's our goal, right? That's what the other kick was at. Not too bad. Nice. Okay. So then let's grab this second snare. God damn, it sounds bad. Why is it so skewed to the side? Ugh. The mono it. Yeah, definitely gonna have to mono that, because otherwise that was way too skewed left. It would have annoyed. That's the kind of mixing error that would have bugged the shit out of me while I was listening to it, you know? And you see, notice here, no high end, no unnecessary high end, just what you need. Okay, what's snare 4 doing? I think that's just going duk-duk-duk, you know? Yeah, see? I swear to God that was used in a lone song from Galaxy Gardens. I recognize that snare drum so well, and it was used that same way, so I had... It's very possible. I mean, it's just, you could have found that shit in a sample pack or whatever. I mean, these drums have been sampled a million times, I'm sure. I don't have some weird secret piece of other thing I wanted to do. Okay. I guess we'll cut into a lot of the like fill tricks and stuff like that later. But so let's just get this down to where it is. Next we need this tambourine. See, like, why is all this low end here? Right? And guarantee if you cut this at like 16K, no one on earth is gonna hear it, right? Okay. The big part about this section of the song, though, I believe, yeah, there's like a bunch of crashes that are like too stereo. That's fully to a side, right? And that's, I can't have that. So we're gonna, I guess we'll do it like this. Let's see. Let's pan it. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. And then we'll cut all low end. Okay. And then let's see. Press, but we should also, before we do that, let's check out the EQ on them. Like, that's just a big chunk of 500 hertz we do not need. Compress it to give it a little bit more sustain. And let's see what's on the final EQ. Nothing. Okay, we're good. Do that. I'm going to do the same thing. There's like a higher crash here. Right. Yeah, God, that sounds like shit. So let's move that over here. And then for funsies, we're going to swap the left and right on it. So that way we get this one's on this side, and this one should be on the other side. Yeah, except we're going to make that left. There we go. A lot more even now. Okay, and we're going to turn it way down. Nice. Okay, where's that China symbol? Yeah, sounds bad. Okay, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to make this kick also output to bus 20 for side chains, right? So that this way we can just take that and drag and drop it onto, we can drag and drop our gate onto that China symbol. That'll wind up sounding like this. Oh, you know what? It created a bus over here that's playing bus 20. Delete. Okay, so that's a lot better. Reverse crash sounds like. Needs to be way quieter, that's all. Okay, now the big fun part of this was the old school ass break. That we're gonna keep. Doesn't need any of its low end though. Let's see what's going on there. Nice. Okay, let's compress it a little bit. Sounds so crunchy. It's so like old shitty sounding. I really dig that. Nice. And let's see what's going on EQ wise at the very end. I don't need that much shit going on at like 15k. I know we definitely don't need anything at like 17, right? So let's see. One more time through. I like that it's kind of janky sounding. Nice. I dig that. Okay, so let's grab, this one should have like an old jungly sub bass, right? Let's go ahead and grab the same sub bass we were using earlier. Same trick, we're gonna replace the bass with the compressor with an overdrive. And we should have it sitting at the same level as our like big bass did, right? Now there's all the like stuff, right? So we had a cool ARP that would play. We'll start with the stab because that's going to be the main element, right? We're going to remove the low end from him. We're going to check out his EQ. No problems that I'm seeing right off the bat. Let's just turn it down. It's got a little bit too much high end for my taste. High mids, personally. Sounds a little bit smoother like this, right? Slam it with the compressor. Turn it down again. Nice. Alright, I can live with that. This sounds pretty decent. Next we have this cool Malady ARP sound. This came out of the JV1080 as well. Love it. Got a little bit too much clinky high end, you know? Yeah, I think that sounds better like that. So let's go ahead and compress the piss out of it. And check that EQ one more time. There's still some stuff going on over there in the very, very highs, but I think it's almost forgivable. Make sure that low end is rolled off. I saw a little tiny bit of it. I think we can probably turn it down a little bit. It's a little loud right now. Okay. Next we've got these pads right here. Start with this one, the pad 2. Nice, old school. Up the width on it. Remove any low ends. I think we could press it a little bit. Just to get some sustain out of it, you know? And then, yeah, we just turn it down. So we've got that higher pad. So we're going to actually copy the relay over, and we're just going to set the width to 100 instead of like 60, right? Nice. Sick. Okay. That worked out pretty well. Okay, let's throw on, there's like this build pad right here, right? So this is gonna come in very quietly and get real hot right at the end. I know I'm gonna wanna up the width on it. I know I'm gonna wanna cut out the low end. Now the other two pads, definitely what they did was they dipped down, like they slowed down a little bit right at the end. I think I want to do that to this too, at least try it, right? Let's see what that sounds like. Do that, and we're going to go here. We're going to change it from a fade out to a slow down. That was too, so start it later. Right at that quarter note. Yeah. Still got this one. Oh, he's just applying some attack to the pads. We'll leave it there. It's quieter. Nice. We still have a symbol roll that we haven't touched. Interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do to that symbol roll is what we've been doing to all of them. Move. Low end. Okay, where is that guy? Did that to him. Did not. Okay, I don't know what I rolled off then. Oh well. I'll never figure it out. Couldn't have been too important. And let's see. Compress it. And we're just going to bring it down in volume. Sick. Okay, I'm super happy with where all this is. Let's see, what else do we need to do? There's like some sound effects stuff, but we're pretty much done. That stuff's going to be very easy. Volumes, really. Let's listen to it all the way through, and then I think I'm going to call it. We'll end the stream there. piano's a little mid-range. Yeah, I'm still feeling like, okay, so I'm going to mix this as best as I can, but I think what I'm going to do is record the ending part 2 cassette tape, and then render, record it back into my DAW. And it'll probably sound like ass in a good way. I want to end it like that, where it's just like this horrible cassette garbage. I feel like that'd be fun. But anywho, that's how it ends. So, I'll probably finish this up later on my own time. Thank you for hanging out for this stream. It was a really good time. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully, you picked up some stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to call it here. I'll catch you guys next Wednesday. Take it easy.